How many of you have used a computer in your daily life? I have. In this presentation, I'll be talking about the differences between Windows and Macintosh. You may have noticed that there is a big difference between Microsoft Windows and the Mac OS. In my opinion, Windows is the better operating system for normal use and from a business standpoint. In this presentation, I will be on the Windows side of things, saying why it is the better operating system than the Apple Macintosh OS. The Mac has its own things that it is good at, along with the Windows operating system. But at the end of the day, Windows is the most superior operating system in my greatest opinion. For my preview, I will be having 3 total points, along with 3 subpoints to explain the problem, the cause, and the solution. My first point would be cost effectiveness. The problem for cost effectiveness that comes with Apple is that Apple is more universal with its products, meaning that prices are about the same for each model of MacBook, iPad, iPhone, basically every Apple product out there in that same range. The cause of this is because MacBook, for example, is only made by Apple, but for a Windows laptop, it's made by multiple manufacturers, including HP, Dell, Asus, Acer, and many, many more. The solution for this is to go with Windows because you have a lot more bang for your buck in terms of different hardware and different manufacturers that you like more. For example, you may like HP more than Dell. It's really up to your preference. Next, I'll be talking about flexible hardware. The problem with Macs when it comes to flexible hardware is that you cannot really change any of the specs of the MacBook of what it originally came in. Specs would include RAM, graphics card, changing the hard drive out, stuff like that, without the operating system getting mad. When I say mad, I mean that it doesn't like the new hardware that you put in, and the operating system won't work correctly, and you'll be forced to change back to your old hardware that you had in there before you made the switch. And at the end of the day, you'd lose money out of that. The cause of this would be due to the Mac software only having a limited amount of upgradable hardware. For example, if you wanted to change the hard drive of Mac from a hard disk drive or an HDD to a solid state drive or an SSD, it may not work correctly because the Mac, depending upon what MacBook you have, it may not handle the speed of the SSD correctly compared to the HDD. The solution to this problem would be to get a Windows laptop or desktop where you have endless possibilities of upgrades that you can put on a laptop or desktop within reason. By within reason, I mean that if it's an older laptop from 2007-2008 time frame, you can only go up a limited number of RAM before maxing out the motherboard and for it to not work correctly. Lastly, I'll be talking about programming in the general field with using Windows, PowerShell, stuff like that. The problem when trying to use a Mac for programming, it tends to be a lot harder or a lot more steps are involved to set up a programming software and to use it than it is with Windows. The cause of this problem would be because the software that is needed for program is all majority Windows based, and the more extensions are required for the program software on Macs to work properly, or the software that you may need might not even work on a Mac. So what do you do then? The solution to this issue would be to choose the modern Windows operating system that's supported which would be Windows 8.1 or Windows 10, and program with that other than a Mac. It will save you time and effort in the long run. Windows can also run a lot more programs that are more flexible when it comes to using these programs, and it is all more flexible when it comes to using older programs like what most businesses do. Some businesses use programs from the early 2000s that they still use today because of licensing terms and all that jazz. To review my speech, I have talked about why Windows is the most superior operating system over the Macintosh and why they are better business solutions. At the end of the day, it is your decision to make when it comes to picking out what operating system or what computer that you desire. Thank you for listening to my presentation.